I want to share a story with you that's taking place in my local area, Virginia Beach, Virginia, with everything that's taking place involving Robert Brooks up in New York, a prisoner who was killed by the correctional staff and onlookers who did absolutely nothing except allow the guards to brutally murder this man who was restrained in handcuffs. I think that this story that I'm getting ready to share with you is important and in some ways possibly even could shed a little light as to what could be expected for the correctional officers who were involved in Robert Brooks's death. This story is similar, unfortunately, but also quite a bit different. This story involves a man who was incarcerated in the Virginia Beach jail by the name of Rolin Hill, who, like Robert Brooks, was killed by the guards who were employed to, amongst other things, ensure his safety. A major difference, though, between the Robert Brooks death and this individual, Rolin Hill, is the fact that I have not seen any body cam footage released or any surveillance video released of this particular situation that took place here in Virginia Beach. I don't know why. I don't know if the guards in Virginia Beach don't have to wear. You know what? Let me stop. I made a lot of mistakes in the initial video that I did about the Robert Brooks tragedy. Let me not do much, if any, speculating with Rolin Hill. So let me start that statement again by saying, why is there no video evidence being released in this particular situation? I don't know. There's a couple of different stories that I'm going to share in relation to the Rolin Hill tragedy. I'm going to start with this headline right here that says 3 former cops accused of fatally restraining man are charged with murder in Virginia. And here is that story right here. 3 former deputies are indicted in connection with the death of a man restrained in a Virginia jail. What do they mean by restrained? Was Rolin Hill handcuffed just like Robert Brooks was? That's what it certainly sounds like to me. Rolin Hill, 34 years old, died in June at a hospital days after deputies at the Virginia Beach Correctional Center restrained him, causing a medical emergency, local outlets reported. At the time, the Virginia Beach NAACP released a statement saying the organization was concerned about the circumstances surrounding his death. In October, Hill's death was ruled a homicide, and a spokesperson for the Tidewater Medical Examiner's Office told the Virginia Pilot, that's our local newspaper, he died from asphyxia due to restraint with neck and torso compressions. Unbelievably tragic. 3 correctional officers are charged with murder in this case. And I'm hoping that we can find pictures of them guys to incorporate with this video. We're going to look for those in just a minute. All 5 deputies, so there were 6 deputies involved in Robert Brooks. There were 5 deputies here involved in Rolin Hill. 3 of them were charged with murder. This situation took place back in June. It took until October, the story says, for the medical examiner to rule his death a homicide. Why did it take so long? What is that? 4 months? June, July, August, September, October? Why did it take 4 months for them to rule this a homicide? All 5 deputies were placed on leave during the investigation and later fired, the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office said in an October 18th statement. Now 3 of the 5 former deputies are facing charges, the Commonwealth's attorney for the city of Virginia Beach said in a January 3rd news release. It's crazy how long all of this takes. We got to go to a grand jury, get a special indictment on these guys. Why can't we just go from A to B? From June when this situation took place till October when it's ruled a homicide, and now 4 months past that to get these guys indicted with murder. Eric I can't pronounce his last name, 39, he's one of the guards, is charged with second-degree murder and 5 counts of assault and battery. Michael Kidd, 39 years old, charged with second-degree murder and 2 counts of assault and battery. And Kevin Wilson, 34, is charged with 1 count of second-degree murder, according to a news release. I wanted to Google this and make sure that I've got my information correct, or at least according to the internet. But I wanted to search how much time does a second-degree murder conviction carry in the state of Virginia? 5 to 40 years. If convicted of second-degree murder, you can be sentenced to 5 to 40 years in prison. You may also be ordered to pay a fine of up to $100,000. In addition, you will have a permanent criminal record and the stigma of being a felon. That's weird to note. 5 to 40 years is what a second-degree murder conviction carries in the state of Virginia. How much time do you think these officers are going to get? When you look at the situation that took place with Robert Brooks, is it going to be similar with them? Or maybe it could be worse for them, because there is the video evidence that shows the gravity and severity of what these officers did. Like I said, I made a few missteps with the Robert Brooks initial video, making speculative comments. But people would mention in the comments of that video things to correct what I was saying, such as what they were stuffing down his throat. His own socks? When you think about what happened to Robert Brooks, and you don't even have to think about it because you see it, you can only imagine the worst in this Rolin Hill situation. And you know it's that bad. Why has the video evidence not been released? You know that there's video evidence. Whether them guards are wearing body cams, which I don't know if all guards have to do so or not. You know there's surveillance cameras. It's a jail, for God's sakes. Virginia Beach City Jail, which I'm very familiar with, unfortunately, from my trouble in the past. This is a jail that loves the camera. They've even had TV shows up in there, such as the first 30 days locked up or something along them lines. I don't know. Maybe, and I hate to be speculative here, but maybe with the national attention that Robert Brooks' story is getting, and all of a sudden on January the 3rd, these indictments are released, maybe there will be a call for video evidence to be released. There should be. I have faith in the criminal justice system to ensure justice is served for both Rolin Hill and the individuals involved in this incident. Virginia Beach Sheriff Rocky Holcomb said in a January 3rd statement, "My heart continues to be with the family of Mr. Hill, and I send them my sincerest condolences to support as they seek healing and justice. Family and friends remember Hill as a beloved father, son, nephew, and friend who enjoyed surfing, skateboarding, and spending time with his family." Let's go with another story real quick. Former Virginia Beach deputies charged in Rolin Hill's death turned themselves in, will be arraigned on Monday. Oh, well, maybe their mugshots are not available just yet. I'm sure by the time you guys are seeing this video, and I hope to get this up pretty soon, especially given the severity of this story and how I hope it garners the same type of energy that the Robert Brooks tragedy has. But will it, though, without the video evidence? You know, people had commented all sorts of things on the initial Robert Brooks story that I did, saying things such as, you know, this type of shit happens all of the time. And so often, is it not addressed or swept under the rug? This story says a lot of the same information that I've already shared in relation to Rolin Hill. I'm going to catch hell for this, but I'm just going to share it because it's mentioned in this story. It talks about Rolin Hill being arrested. I think it's important because he was serving time for some bullshit. So don't shoot the messenger here. An arrest warrant obtained by News 3 describes that Hill was cited for trespassing at a 7-Eleven, and this man lost his life in jail at the hands of the guards on June 4th, and he refused to leave when asked by a store manager and officer. He allegedly became disorderly and resisted arrest. Guy seemed to be locked up on some bogus shit. While in custody, he was described as uncooperative and combative, leading deputies to restrain him for safety reasons. Hill suffered a medical emergency shortly after his arrest and later died at Centera Princess Anne Hospital. The Virginia office of the chief medical examiner ruled his death as a result of positional and mechanical asphyxia due to restraint in the arrest. This just sounds as horrible as it can be. I want to talk about that whole disorderly conduct and resisting arrest and becoming uncooperative and combative. Until video evidence is released, we can only assume the worst as well in relation to what these guards did, which tragically cost Rolin Hill his life. But again, to talk about that disorderly conduct and that uncooperative and combative thing, I've seen too often where people are uncooperative with people of authority, police, correctional officers, and it really doesn't have to go to the level that it gets taken to by the people in those authoritative positions. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're trying to do the worst, better yet, I probably should say everything is a case-by-case basis. But too often, these guards and cops retaliate with taking it way too far, in my personal opinion. Like I said, case-by-case basis, but that doesn't even matter. I wanted to share this story with you because of how much attention the Robert Brooks tragedy has gotten. And I hope that this sheds a little bit of light into what could be expected for the guards involved in his case. All of these folks involved in the Robert Brooks tragedy and also the Rolin Hill tragedy deserve to go to prison and should go there for a long time. If you kill somebody, that should be what it is. But I'll wrap this video up. I'll look forward to hearing what you have to say in relation to this. I'll also look forward to seeing what more comes of the Rolin Hill story. Things such as video evidence and mugshots of these officers. And say again, in conclusion, I wonder if the Robert Brooks story wasn't taking place right this second, would the Rolin Hill story get as much attention as it's probably about to get? And I hope that it gets the same nationwide attention. It should. Shit like this should be exposed. Hey, look, that's it. There's no way in hell you could have enjoyed this video, but I'm going to ask you to do so anyway, and that's to leave a like and a comment on this, letting me know exactly what you thought about this. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day.